This video is best viewed in full screen. Hello, and welcome to the second edition of Learn C#. Today, we're going to go through comments and variables and constants. First, we're going to go through comments. A comment is just a section of your source code that will get ignored by the compiler and will be removed before your program is actually created. There are two general types of comments. You have the double forward slash or the double slash, and that kind of comment actually includes the rest of that current line. So if you wanted to put a comment after a after a statement, so you put a double forward slash and it'll comment out the rest of that line. You have a second type which has a forward slash and star, and then is ended with a star and forward slash. That's a block comment. It's actually used to comment out a block of text or code. I occasionally do that when I need to comment out like a function to recreate it. Usually I only do stuff like that if I'm testing a new format and want to keep the original code. Another thing with the block comments is people oftentimes make a header on their source code which will contain copyright information, and I'll show you that when we get to the source code section of this tutorial. There is a third type of comment, but I will go more in depth over it later, and that is a triple forward slash. This is used for documentation, and I will show you more of the IntelliSense when we get to the code section of this tutorial. Now we're going to learn about variables and constants. Both variables and constants are values with names assigned to them. They can contain any letter, A through Z, in both caps and small. They can contain any number, and they can contain the underscore character, which is that right there. They cannot start with a number. And in C#, case matters. That is uppercase and lowercase. So thus the names count in all small letters and count with the C capital, that is a capital letter, both refer to two different variables or constants. Do's and don'ts. Do use variable names that are descriptive. Do adopt and stick with a style for naming your variables and constants. Don't name your variables or constants with all capital letters unnecessarily, but I do normally name my constants with all capital letters, but that's from my C days. And another note, C# supports a Unicode character set, which means that letters from any language can be stored and used. You can also use any Unicode character to name your variables and constants. In C and C++, that's not true because it only accepts ANSII. That only covers like your basic English, and unless you use code pages, other characters. But that's way too advanced and we don't have to worry about them. To declare a variable, it is usually some type. In this case I demoed it with an int and some variable name. To declare a constant, just put a const at the beginning of it. And remember, all constants are static. More into that in another chapter when we learn about classes. And then your type, some constant equals, and then you have to have some value. Constants must be declared at that time. And a read-only value, which is read-only, your type, and then some read-only value, name. read-only values can be either initialized with a value at the point you declare it, or in the constructor. And once again, I'll get into constructors when we learn about classes. Okay, now we're covering the code section of the tutorial. I've already generated and wrote 90% of the code that I'm going to show you. Up here, I have declared global functions for the class of program. One called variable, the constant called constant, and a read-only value called read-only. I also put comments after all the variables so that you can see how comments are meant to be used. The constant value is the maximum integer value by using the value of max value in the class of int. And the read-only value is the minimum value. I also created an int with the word God in Cyrillics, which is what Russians and other Eastern European languages use. And it made it a value of 12. And at the top of int, I have declared variable equal to 22. I have also made 4 calls to console.writeLine showing you how to display variables inside of strings. It is important to note that you must have the .toString, which is available in all classes, even custom classes, if you merge your variable in with a string like I have here. Basic arithmetic like plus, minus, division, and multiplication can be used with your number values, and the plus sign is used to merge 2 strings together and make 1 string out of it. I also showed you how you can do the same thing with just a number right here. But if you do it with a number, you have to have the number inside parentheses. Another note, if you do arithmetic with integer values, make sure you, if you have, like, you want to do addition first and then multiplication, make sure you put the addition part inside of parentheses. Otherwise, it will do multiplication first. Now I'm going to show you IntelliSense. Oh, I also put another console.writeLine showing you how to use like other languages and that they'll work. Now I'm going to show you IntelliSense. Whoops. This box right here, the second I started typing, this is an IntelliSense window for code completion. As you can see, console says represents the standard input, output, and error streams console applications. And then this class cannot be inherited. I'll get into inheritance in a later chapter when I do classes. You can use tab if you're on that one section of code to just instantly complete it. And when you hit a dot, and another IntelliSense window that's similar to it will come up. And again, all the information's there, so I'll hit tab. And when you open up to begin a function, you can see that it'll tell you all the different parameters. I'm not going to put anything, and that'll just put a blank line in between up here and down here. We're going to compile. Okay, we're done, and it'll say variable 22, constant, and it'll give you the value. Read only, the same thing. Now, I don't understand why, but the console window does not display Unicode characters very well. I don't know if it's because Microsoft probably still uses ASCII for it or what,